What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 48. I'm feeling pretty refreshed. David, how are you feeling tonight?
Feeling good, man. How's your vacation?
It was really, really great. Weather was perfect. We had rain one time at like 7:30. We were already done for the night. Like just sprinkle the
Oh,
rest of
that's
the time.
great.
Nice and sunny. Wasn't too hot. Was just beautiful, beautiful weather out by the lake. Uh, Out in Saugatuck, Michigan. If anyone's ever been there, I'm sure we have some Saugatuck fans out there. It's just a great spot to be. They have a river going through downtown that leads out to Lake Michigan. Hit up Oval Beach. They have sand dunes there. I mean, kids had a blast. Wife had a blast. Couldn't ask for a better time. Some pretty good food out there. They have this big root beer barrel that's just like iconic in the town. It's actually in the next door town, Douglas, but it was, I think it's from like the 1950s, and the city owns it now. It's just a hot dog and root beer stand, and some of the best Chicago dogs around. Like I wouldn't have expected, of all places, like a lake town to have these awesome Chicago dogs and great root beer, but and that was only like 2 minutes away from where we were staying. We were staying at somewhere that had a pool as well, so it was great. We were going to the beach, going to the pool, going downtown. Downtown has a playground. They also have a pickleball court. I did
Okay.
see people on there, and like I told my wife, I was like, I'm not gonna play pickleball this time because they had not only that downtown court, but there was a set of 8 courts like 5 minutes away. And
Hmm.
I was tempted, but it's like you have to play in the morning pretty much right there. And it's like, all right, well, that takes away like the whole morning of, the vacation. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go. But I did see people playing downtown. It was just a single court, and I was tempted. I was tempted to like just get in there, like, hey, let me get one game, but I didn't do it. Uh, but I would like to sometime. It'd be fun to get a game going there because it's like right by a lot of traffic. So I'm sure you get some people stopping if you get some good action going. What'd you do this weekend?
I had family in town, but also just grinding on videos. There's been a lot of paddles that have been coming out, so been hitting a lot of those, but I guess we're gonna be able to talk about them soon. So,
All right. Yeah, it's a crazy time for paddles, and we are doing a paddle tier list this time. We've been doing, you know, some quarterly company tier list, but we're gonna switch that up to paddles. And it's just mainly paddles that we've reviewed or talked about on the podcast. So if we left out your favorite paddle, it's not it's really just because we didn't, cover it more in depth yet. So we're just, going in, and we have to put a limit on it. I think we have 24. Some are individual paddles, some are series. But before that, let's talk about something that's coming out this Wednesday for pre-sales. It's the Bread and Butter Loco, the revived Bread and Butter Loco series, and that's going to be 179 after a code. So you can use code DMV DMV Pickleball, DMV PB. You tell me. Sorry, I'm used to saying mine, but what is yours, David?
oh no, this is your
No,
podcast. You
it
gotta
could
go
be
for
either
all
one.
drive no drop.
All drive no drop, or go to David's channel. Look at his codes for bread and butter too. But this is the revived. It's all foam. I believe this is, what is it? EPP foam in the middle, EVA foam on the perimeter. It's kind of set up like what, like the boomsticks, like the Honolulu NFs, where you have two different foams. And it's coming out in their hybrid, their elongated wide body shape. I believe they're doing a hot sauce with the first 1,000 ones for this too. Don't quote me on that. I didn't read the whole brochure. This, the what do you call it? The NDA just got lifted from us, so I didn't have time to go read it. It just came out before the podcast. But we've had time to play it. I've been playing the hybrid. I think David's been playing the elongated. And these are going to be their first power paddle, so that's exciting. Really good feel on these. Amazing spin. These are super gritty. I'm hoping this grit is like the same as the production because the spin on these is insane. And I think that it's going to be a big hit for them. So Wednesday to get your pre-orders in. Judging based on the past pre-orders, I would say, because they do it in like weekly increments usually, each weekly increment usually sells out on their big launches. So I would get it fast while you can if you're looking for a bread and butter power paddle. David, how's that elongated been for you? You been enjoying it?
It's probably one of my favorite paddles right now. But in terms of like overall firepower, it's like a step up above a Joola Pro 4. It's got that CFC layup, so you got that little bit of fiberglass in there to give a little bit more juice. But I'm really liking the feel of it because it's not too stiff feeling since it is a foam paddle. But overall, I'm really enjoying the elongated one. Excited to see like if the reduction ones are any different, but I don't think they will be. But like you said, you've only hit the hybrid. I only have the elongated, so we still need to try out the other shapes. But it's actually really cool that they're releasing in all three different shapes. So
Hmm.
that's a really cool thing. Don't think many other companies have done that besides Carbon, but even Carbon didn't come out the four until later. So it's
Yeah.
cool that they're doing elongated, hybrid, and standard. So this should be a really cool release.
Yeah, I think they would be the first one to release all three shapes at the initial launch. I mean, Honolulu has all three shapes, plus, two different hybrids now, but they just released the hybrid first. So I think they are the first one to do all three at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think they've learned that, just release all three shapes of any new paddle they have. I think that's the way they're probably going for the future. Just, it makes sense. If you can do it, why not release all shapes? You'll just sell more paddles. So, but yeah, go check that out. Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. If you are looking to get yourself a bread and butter Loco, that's just a pre-order. I think they're shipping out like September.
Yeah.
But September is really close. Unfortunately, that summer's coming to an end, but more paddles are coming. And then I have not hit this yet. I have not, but David has. It is the Avatar
Oh,
from
I like
Sypik.
it's all the way on the other side of the room, so I won't grab it.
It's
But
all the way on the other side. All right, let me just tell you. You want to go get it? I'm gonna tell
I'll
people
go
a
get it.
story. All right, listen. This has nothing to do with pickleball. I'm walking to put stuff in my car. Loading up the car, end of vacation, and I hear some hooves, and it's like clack 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 clack, and I'm coming around. I'm going in this like like a hallway, tunnel hallway, and I walk around the corner. I'm like, what is that? I thought it was a horse. All of a sudden, two deer just pop out. They're like a foot away from me. It's a mom and a baby deer. They just pop out right in front of me. I'm like, here I am. I'm loading the stuff up in the car. I'm like, what? And first time in my life, there's like deer surprising me at a hotel hallway. So that's all I got to say. But anyway, talking about the Avatar from Sypik, QD's main paddle. What we got there, David?
Okay, I didn't hear what you just said because I had took my
Sorry,
headphones up.
it was
But
a good
okay.
story about deer.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta try this over the weekend. I think in terms of stats, this was like 116 swing weight, twist weight of 6.25. Pure foam paddle. From what I understand, that's what I've been told. And when I was hitting it, basically what people told me was that this sounds like a super delaminated Pro 4 just because of like how hollow it sounds.
Mm,
But in terms of the power, once I had to weight it up because it was pretty unstable out of the box. But with weight added, this might be one of the hardest hitting paddles I've hit so far. Like if I hit an overhead, it was not coming back. And I'm actually kind of surprised that this thing is both USAP and UPA approved. But funny thing is that it actually plays very similar to this paddle, which is the Luz Cannon. Sorry, not the Cannon, the Inferno.
mm.
Um, I keep calling it the Cannon just because that's how it hits. Like these both hit extremely hard, especially once you have like weight added on the sides. I'm not sure if any of the other reviewers have hit either of these yet, but I'm curious to see like everyone else's thoughts on the overall firepower because as of right now, I think this is probably like some of the hardest hitting paddles I've hit. Like
That's
the
crazy. Did
power
they
level
tell
is
you
just
about the foam?
exponential.
Like what the
Um,
foam build is in there?
the Sypik people, I think you have the same experience where I don't you don't really know much about them. You kind of just see the
Fair enough.
paddle.
Fair enough.
Luz has been more transparent though. There's actually is that MPP foam. So that's the same one that Rhombus is actually using in the Refoam series.
Okay.
But it's the same thing where it's like the MPP foam and like that and then just like the dual foam layers. Or sorry, not dual foam. So there's like one layer of foam and then the MPP foam in the middle. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, both just
Interesting.
super hollow sounding and like the power gets exponentially like more powerful as you're like the more you swing harder, the power just shoots up. Both like
Are,
super powerful
are
paddles.
the sweet spots pretty good?
Not out of the box. I think both of
Okay.
them I
Need some
had to
weight.
weigh up a lot. Yeah, they're pretty unstable out of the box,
Okay.
but they're also both kind of light.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll look forward to that. I imagine Sypik is kind of like going to be here to stay. It seems like there's big interest in it. Just, QD has some of the biggest draw, it seems like. I don't know if he'll keep that draw with, not being here in the States right now. But so far, it definitely seems like people are interested. So we'll see.
Hmm.
They just need to get their store spun up in the U.S. I don't know why. Like, it only takes a day. You can get that store going at any time. But you know, they just got a network of dealers that you have to. You got to go buy from the car
Are you
trunk.
advertising your garage to sell for the?
Yeah, I'll just be the Sypik dealer. Like, yeah, how many you need? 2, 3? All right, hit me up at the court. 5:30. So, yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting. I've never seen such a interesting scheme from the paddle company, but I'm sure they'll get it. They'll get it going.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Avatar or the Inferno?
No, but I'll probably have like a video out on like Wednesday on them.
All right,
So
check it out on Tickle My Pickleball Wednesday for that Avatar video. I know people will be interested in that. So for the main event today, we're getting into the paddle tier list here, and I'm just going to go over what each tier means. So let me pull up on the screen the tier list while I am doing that. We have S tier, which is superior, represents the best of the best. And then we have A tier, which is excellent, really, really, really good. And then we have B tier, which is good, solid. C tier, which is just average, could be great for some, could be bad for some. And then we have D tier, which is below average, has notable flaws. And so what we're taking into the paddles that we are ranking, which is just all the, most of the paddles that we've kind of reviewed or reviewed more in depth on the podcast, is we are going to talk about, or we're considering their performance, we're considering their price, and so if we need to use a tiebreaker, we'll consider their uniqueness. And then if we need a tiebreaker between David and I of, if I have it in one tier and he has it in another, first tiebreaker will go to David. We're just going to go with his, and then we'll alternate on that to keep things flowing. So, we keep this under an hour and don't, sit here fighting over the paddles. And at the end of the day, we want to stay friends, so we just have to, we have to make it fair. But we're going to kick things off. I guess we're just going to go in the order that these images ended up popping up. It's not the easiest to run these tier lists, but the tier maker is what we are using if you want to use it, tiermaker.com. First up, we are going to talk about the Thrive Theory, which is, one of the more recent releases we've talked about in the podcast. Pretty much plays like a hybrid Joola Pro 4. It is a little bit expensive, coming in at 100. I guess it's actually not too bad for terms of today's things. $199 probably goes down to $180 after a code. So I would say that's mid-tier pricing these days. So I wouldn't dock it on the price. And then we aren't really going to talk about durability. We decided that durability, while obviously a factor, we're going to be slightly biased in what we've experienced, so we're just going to strictly talk about performance and price. To stick to the facts that we can, fully say. For Thrive Theory, and I guess I could go in the order. Here we go. Thrive Theory, I put it in the S tier. I think it'd probably be lower S tier by the time we get done with things, but I think it performs very, very well. The price is, mid tier, and for a single paddle from Thrive, it's just a great power hybrid paddle. What do you think?
Yeah, especially like if we're just doing like performance and price, that's definitely S
Yeah.
tier. Uniqueness, that's where we would dock points, but that's not, what we're factoring in because it's basically a Pro 4 just in the hybrid
Yeah.
shape. But because nothing like that exists already, that also just gives it points. So I'd just go like a low S tier for that as well. But one thing is also like the elongated one also just got approved. So if we do
Oh,
consider it
okay.
as a series,
Yeah.
obviously we haven't hit that one yet, but likely it's gonna be potential like cheaper alternative to the Joola Pro 4s that also plays like really similar.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's good that the elongated got approved. All right, so S tier, no contention there. I just threw this in last second. Bread and butter Loco, the new one, the new foam one. Where would you place that?
I mean, I'm biased because I really like it, so I'm
Yeah.
putting that in S. But like, um, I guess is like the closest comparison I have to this is just like a Pro 4 because I think that's kind of like the benchmark for a lot of paddles right now. Is like how does it
Hmm.
compare to the Pro 4?
Yeah.
And I think compared to that, like I mentioned, it's so it does come in all three shapes, so that's a plus for it. And then prices, in that mid range, like I think it's 200, and then drops down after a code. And performance, I think, is good. Like it's a foam power paddle, and it's up there in power, and I think the performance is good. So for that durability and being able to compete like at that like high power level, I think that keeps that up in S tier, especially at that price.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, just based on the hybrid, I think for the price, the performance, the power level, I think that this is an S tier paddle. Where it ends up in the S tier, I'm not sure yet. Obviously, we have only played with one shape, and this is, kind of a preliminary ranking since, it just this is all happening fast for us. But I just wanted to throw it on the list since, we have hit it and it is coming out. So I figured, why not? Why not? So S tier for that. Next up, we have the Revolin Drift series, which is 174.99 before a code. So it probably what does that go down to like 150 something after a code? So a pretty good price paddle. They do come in, a little lighter weight. I think they're one of the more unique paddles. Obviously, they have that bio or the flax and the basalt weave. I think they have a like a unique feel. I put them in A tier.
Okay. For me, um, obviously I can't give them points for this, but they do get extra like imaginary points from me for being more like eco-friendly. I think they like use I think there's like more recycled materials and also made in the USA. So it's nice from that standpoint. In terms of performance, it's really hit or miss, I think, with these Revelin paddles. I think the feel is unique and it's either you really like it, you like how it pockets the ball, or
Mm-hmm.
you really hate it. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's no in between. You either like a Revelin or you don't like a Revelin.
Okay.
And
Where are we
I
going
don't
with
know.
this, David?
I kind of go B for this one just because it's unique, but it's not like, unique where it's like, oh, this is so special that like everyone needs to try. It's like, oh, it's only for some people. And that's
All
where I
right.
kind of like knock off some
So
points
good
there.
and solid.
Yeah, I think it's a solid paddle, and I think
All
it's
right.
great for some people, but like a lot, like not a lot, but like the other half will really dislike it. And because of that, I kind of have to put in the middle.
All right. First tiebreaker goes to David, so that goes to the B tier. Next up, we have the Diadem Blue Cores. David, what do you think about those blue cores?
Yeah, I got these pretty late, so but I think we all only got like one shape and one core thickness, so
Mm-hmm.
I got the standard and 16 millimeters, and for 280, like this is just I just there's just like no better than an existing like all court paddle. Like yes, it was foam, but there's just so many like cheaper options out there. And because of that, I'm gonna have to go D tier for this one. It kind of launched against a lot of other high performing
You said
paddles.
D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them in D tier too. I think just it's unfortunate because I was really excited about this and having nine different varieties of shapes and thicknesses. I thought like, oh, this is gonna be pretty cool. I like that they dyed the core blue. They had it in the handle, like a little see through, so you could see the core. The price is just too much. The paddles didn't turn out great. They turned out, to kind of be like heavier control paddles, and then one of the models was a very short 5-inch handle for one of the wide bodies, and just one of their elongated was really a hybrid, and it's just there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then obviously you throw the price in there, and it's just like
Yeah.
you just, I mean, yeah, yeah. Anyway, D tier. So what can you do? So Wilson Vesper, I don't. Did you ever get a chance to hit these?
Yeah, one of my interns bought it, so I gotta try this one out.
Nice. So I thought that the 17 millimeter, it was nah, whatever. 14 millimeter I actually quite liked. Kind of balancing the two out. I would probably lean C tier, but could be convinced to go B tier. They are, oh man, now I'm forgetting the price, but I think they were 250 originally, but I think they lowered the price.
Mm.
Maybe they didn't. Wilson Vesper is, but yeah. Anyway, the 17 was just very matte, and these are edgeless. So the 14 though, I did enjoy, and with some weight, it played pretty well. Yeah, 250. So I'd probably lean C tier, I guess, for these because they're not like anything special. They have a little bit of a unique feel to them, and they look really good. I don't know if can looks be included. They look really good, but just kind of fell flat. I have seen more than I thought I would see, just because I guess it's the Wilson name though. Where would you put it?
Mm. So I think I only tried. Which
You
was
tried
that?
the
Yeah, I tried the
17?
17. Yeah, that's the one I
Okay,
tried.
yeah, you probably
Um,
tried the worst of the two.
yeah, so that one, like, I actually, when I picked it up, the handle just feels so nice, just the way that
It's it
the
yeah,
design is.
you could tell that like they have some skill in crafting, manufacturing, but
Yeah, because it just reminded me so much of a tennis racket. I was like, this feels really familiar. It feels really nice. But then, like, but because it feels like a tennis racket, that actually wasn't a good thing because they cut out
oh
that whole part in the middle. And
oh
then that just
my
kind of
bad.
like lowered up the stability there. It felt okay. And, it was, I guess it's like a unique paddle, but then again, it's like it's unique, but it's also, I don't think I would ever recommend it to anyone. I obviously didn't try the 14, so
Hmm.
I kind of lean D on this one just because I didn't think this was a great paddle, but
Okay.
you got to try the 14, so I'll listen to you on this.
No, it's okay. That's my tiebreaker. We'll go to C, and you got
Oh,
the next one. But I would probably put the 17 millimeter in D tier as well. So
okay.
it's more off the 14, which I actually enjoyed. The 17 I pretty much put down after a couple of games, and I was like, yeah, this is this is trash. So um yeah, an edgeless control paddle. I mean, it just sounds bad, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
just it just doesn't sound good.
Not in 2025.
Not in 2025. Come on. Next one is, I think this is. Oh, my bad. It is the J2K Plus, so or the J2 Plus series.
Mm.
Um,
For
yeah.
this one me?
Yep, this for you.
Okay. This one was like okay. I think this was in that period of time where Honolulu was just like trying so many different things out to see what would stick. And
Hmm.
then I think eventually they realized like, okay, J4 is not good, the XK is not good. And then let's just keep the J2, but then like try to make it Gen 3. Um, this one was just interesting because at least in my experience, it was just pretty inconsistent with how it turned out. Like it would either break in or it wouldn't break in. But even when like as it was still like a really solid paddle.
Hmm.
And the price, do you know it off the top of your head?
I
Yeah, look
believe
that
it
up.
was 150, but let me check
Okay.
while you're talking.
Yeah, because plus they still had that whole like refresh program. So I wouldn't like dock too many points on it. Like it wasn't a unique paddle, but it was still something I kind of like recommended to people. I was like, it's still really solid for what it is as like a Gen 3.
Hmm.
Like it's still more firmer and denser and like I thought it was more pleasant feeling compared to like the normal J2K or the J2
Yeah.
Ti. So I would think I would go A tier for this. Like it's like a all around good paddle in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, it is 150 after a code, so it's, still a
Okay.
really good price. And I think people really love the J2 Ti Plus. That was seemed to be the fan favorite. And I thought it was an upgrade over the J2K and the J2 Ti for sure. It just some people were having different break-ins too. Like some were getting hotter, some weren't getting as hot. So it kind of created, an area where it's like, okay, I'm recommending this, but like I don't know for sure how much, how powerful. And then I had thought at a time that like, okay, it's settling down. It seems like their manufacturing is under control. And then but then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. So I started recommending other things that I was more confident that it would be a better experience. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of big fans of those plus models. I enjoyed it, and I would agree with you. It's an A tier. It almost like I think if they would have focused more, it could have been S tier. But yeah, A tier for that.
Yeah, I think it's very close to being S for me, but
Yeah. Next up, Thrive Smoke. So Thrive Smoke was just, an elongated. I don't believe they ended up ever even going for any other shapes. Do you remember?
yeah, they only did elongated.
Okay. So only elongated, 14.5 millimeter, but honestly, a really, really solid paddle. Sometime in a Thrive, I guess, for the uniqueness, you get to pick your swing weight, which I'm surprised more people don't do. Also, I know it just takes time. Like, you got to get on that graffiti and start measuring all of them. So that's another problem. And this one came in at 220, so it is a little bit more expensive than some of the other, you know, Gen 3 style paddles. I thought it had a pretty good feel though, a pretty good sweet spot size. I guess it's kind of on the higher end for swing weight, with that 118 being the lowest. Thought it played pretty well, pretty good power level. I put it in the A tier. I thought it was a really solid paddle.
Okay.
Well, an
Um,
excellent paddle according to my tier list definitions.
yeah, I mean, I like the smoke too. This is one like I kind of wish I'd hit a bit more.
hmm
I liked it when I first hit it, and I think what they were trying to go for was like a paddle tech competitor, and I think it
hmm
didn't quite have the pop of the paddle tech, but I think
Yeah.
it was still a really solid paddle overall. I know it wasn't like a big popular one that was like a big fan favorite or anything, but I did think it was a bit underrated, so I would agree with you on A here.
All right. A tier. Would you put it above the J2K Plus or behind?
I would put it behind just because the
Okay.
price is like noticeably higher. It's like 210 or 200 or something for that one.
Sounds good. This next one, the Enhanced Gen 4.5, which I believe you said was your main at one point, maybe still your main. How do you feel about that?
I think I won't say I won't spoil what my main is just because
Oh yeah,
John just texted me.
there's a new post coming out.
Yeah, new post came out, so I'll keep quiet on this. But no, I really like this paddle in the terms of like it was just really solid at what it did, and like you said, I think you described it better than me. It's very predictable in what I wanted it to do, just because I
Yeah.
was familiar with it and wasn't crazy powerful or anything. I don't think it was anything too unique.
hmm
It was just good performance, good durability, which we're not considering, and a good price. So like for a foam paddle, like at a good price. I think I'm gonna go A for this one just because it wasn't like too special.
Yeah, I would say A tier, but I would put it above those two with just how well it performed all around.
Yeah.
And if someone was looking for something that was on that borderline all core power area, and they're just looking to get a really 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 good elongated paddle that is excellent if you're looking for that style, I think that fits the bill there. Next up, Proton Flamingo. This one's like one of the more controversial paddles around. I think some people love it, some hate it, for different reasons. The durability, which we're not considering, but it's almost hard not to consider it on this one
Yeah.
because it's been a huge. It's probably been the worst in terms of like what I've heard for durability. But performance wise, it's a good paddle, right? It's a really good to excellent paddle. I think I would put it in the A tier, just based on the performance. It does have to break in, so you do have to factor that into it. It has to break in a little bit, and once it does, it's right up there, with a lot of the other grid powered paddles in terms of firepower, and it plays really well. It does have a shorter handle for an elongated, so it's something to keep in mind. But some people like that. It gives you a little bit more paddle surface. What do you think about the Proton Flamingo?
Yeah,
Price is
it's
expensive too, I
interesting.
guess.
Yeah, like the price is expensive, and that's why like I'm waffling between A and B. Like, yes, performance is good, and I think best way to describe it, at least in my opinion, is like it's kind of like a lighter Pro 4, just because it's like 15 millimeters, and I don't think it has that firepower level. At least I didn't get up to, that level
hmm
when I was hitting with it. I also only hit it briefly, but um yeah, just the price tag is kind of high, and I think it really depends like where would we put the Pro 4s to determine like where I would put this.
We can
But I
do it at the
think
same time.
yeah, for now
Well,
I think
the Pro Fours have a whole series too, though, to factor in, I guess.
yeah, and I guess because this only has one shape, I think I don't know. I'm leaning like high, like top of B right now, but I'd also be okay
Oh,
with
okay.
bottom of A.
Okay.
Actually, no, I think I'll go bottom of A for now. I
All right,
think,
let's go bottom of
yeah.
A. Boom. Proton Flamingo. Man, the design could have been so much better too, I think. Just put a
Mm.
big flamingo on there. Boom. Um, Engage innovation, which I think you ended up getting, spending a little bit more intimate time with than I did.
Yeah, so I
So
did get intimate with that one.
what's going on with that engage innovation?
So yeah, because I had the original Pursuit Pros, and then so I was like kind of able to hit them side by side. Um, since to briefly recap, Pursuit Pros are heavy. Pursuit Pro ones were basically the Pursuit Pros with less weight, and then the
Hmm.
innovations were like, oh, now we're a heavier Pursuit Pro one. So it was basically a Pursuit Pro, but it was different in the sense that it was a bit more plush. But then the price tag I think also jumped up like $40, which I just didn't think made sense. Like at that point, like I'd rather just get a Pursuit Pro than an innovation. Like it's such a small difference for you to work like whatever it was, like a $40 increase.
Hmm.
So, and also just like compared to what was already out, it wasn't anything like particularly great. So I think I would go B just because like the innovate like the Pursuit Pros have never been like a bad paddle. Like I've
Yeah.
always thought they're a good performance paddle. And the innovations were just kind of the same thing. So I
260
think I
as
just go.
well.
Yeah, so I think we just go B on this one.
Okay. In front of the drift or behind?
I'll go behind the drift.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything more to add. You spent a lot more time with those than me, so I'm a lean to your judgment. I wasn't super impressed either way. I mean, they were good and solid, but nothing that would make me be like get it over these other ones. So, next up, Friday Fever, which is was kind of my first jump into the Friday lineup, and then I spent a lot more time with the different paddles. But for $100 for a Gen 3 paddle, doesn't peak the top of the charts of the power paddles, but it comes in really lightweight, lets you customize it, has a pleasant feel, isn't too stiff, is kind of on the softer side for a Gen 3 paddle. Uh, for me, when you factor in the price with that performance, I would put it in S tier. It's probably going to be like the bottom of S tier for me, just because it's not the top of the line performance. But considering the price and their performance, and people still ask, they want the best paddle under 100. I think for me, it's hands down. For me, is the best one. Coming out with a wide body soon too, so that would even boost it more. But for me, the elongated just super represents one of the best of the under $100 paddles. What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
think I'd agree with you there. I think I was kind of in between like A, because it's one of those that's like price is really good, but I don't think the
Hmm.
performance really matched the price. Like it was, I mean, it was still a good paddle, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like I guess like the performance like power paddle that
Hmm.
many people have been looking for. And
Hmm.
that's why I was kind of docking points there. But because it also has that wide body and the price is pretty significant that like really pushes it into S tier.
Yeah.
At the same like it's like kind of like an all like top of all court and then your mileage kind of can vary based on like how much you use it and how much the break-in is.
Yeah.
Break-in like gets to be. So that's where I kind of like get a bit iffy. But yeah, I think I would agree with like bottom of S tier just because of the price and because it's also got a wide body on the way.
All right. Yeah, I think if you weight it up enough too, because it comes in such a low swing weight. I think somewhere coming at like 114, 115. You
Yeah.
have so much room to put weight on that you can get that power level up. You bring it up, you put enough on there to get to like a 120 swing weight. You can do some damage with it. I know not everyone's going to weight it up that much, but I think it's, not a blank canvas, but definitely something you can create some art with. Next up, Body Helix Flik F1. What'd you do with that paddle?
I'm a big fan of this one. I think this was one of those paddles I picked up and I was like, this is so fun to use, but I'm so bad with it.
How many interns
Um,
did you send to the hospital?
oh man, actually I like nailed one of my interns the other day with the Avatar paddle, so
Oh,
that was pretty
jeez.
bad. And then I was like, wait, I forget, I can't do that. They don't have health insurance. Um, but for terms of the flick, this one, yeah, for I think it's like 190 and I don't know, like I feel like when the Boomstick came out. that the Flik kind of wins out just because I thought the Flik was a better paddle overall compared to
Hmm.
the Boomstick. It was a shame that the hybrid and standard failed the testing, but I like how it's not too stiff feeling. I mean, I think you had a different opinion on this, but I thought it
Yeah.
was more plush for a power paddle, and the feel overall was good, and it was in a weight range where you could customize and weight it up still. So I like that about it, and the power was high, and I thought overall I just connected well with the feel and just had a lot of fun with it. For 190, drops not even more after a coat. I think that's an S tier paddle for me.
Yeah, this one was very surprising just how well it played and with how much pop and power it has, it seemed like it's still within the realm of controllability. Like when we were talking about this compared to the boomstick, we both thought that this one, even though it seemed like it had more pop, it still felt more controllable. It just felt more consistent with how it kind of grabs onto the ball a little bit longer than the boomstick, I thought,
Yeah.
and I guess it's more of like a a longer dwell, but then like a bigger pop off the face than the boomstick, so it felt more controllable. Obviously the price is way better than the boomstick. It's almost you could get two of these for the same price as the boomstick, so it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I I think I'd put it at the top right now for the stuff we have. Where do you think?
Yeah, I think as of right now, that I mean, for me, it's my favorite, but I think that's just like a great performance paddle right now, especially
Okay,
it's cheaper than the other two that are behind it.
yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. It's cheaper. I was thinking the bread and butter Loco is 179, but this comes down to like what 170 something, low
Yeah.
170s.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, great stuff from them. And I know they'll have like a hybrid and standards wide body soon, I'm sure. So that'll be good. Carbon Trufoam series. If we were doing this tier list 8 months ago, might have been in the first, second, third spot. I still think this series is good. It just unfortunately kind of they started the trend. They started the trend of the
Yep.
foam paddles, and they got the party started. And they're just kind of getting outpaced in performance, but they're also top of the line priced. So it's hard for me to recommend a Carbon True Foam over another option in this foam paddle, C that we have. I don't think I would recommend them right now just based on price and performance. It's still really good performance. It just is getting outclassed like their wide body, too high of a swing weight, not enough power for what you get at that swing weight compared to some of the other things. Hybrids is really good. I do like their hybrid shape. It played really well. And then their elongateds. I don't really love their elongateds. Just didn't play the best for me. Felt kind of heavy, and I didn't love the sweet spot. Um, and then the price, not great. Top of the line price. What do you think? So my recommendation would be it's still an A tier paddle series, but at the bottom of A tier for me.
Yeah. It's like you said, they started the whole trend, and then now they're kind of, I guess, there's just too many more options with the foam now. Um, and back then definitely would have been an S tier paddle, but since we're doing it like further along in the year, there's just so many other foam paddles that are coming out that are able to compete with it at lower prices too. And while it still is a good paddle, and I think the four was like a great shape too. At 280, it is a bit tough to recommend compared to other foam paddles when I don't think that the performance itself is worth like that much compared to like a cheaper foam option. So,
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's good. So I would say like low A or high B for me, but I'm okay with like putting it in low A. I think low A makes more sense actually.
All right, we'll go low A. I think that's fair. It's still really good. Next up, the Selkirk Boomstick series. Boom, boom. Where would you put that boomstick, David? It's kind of a
Uh,
hard. I think it's one of the hardest ones to place. There's a lot of things
yeah.
going on with the boomstick.
Okay. I dislike this paddle, but I think it's still good. Um, it's
Good or excellent?
hmm, that's tough to say. Like I think it's so let's say it's got the Infinigrit, which hasn't been proven and it's really tough to prove. But at the
Uh-huh.
same time, I kind of feel like I don't know, with our industry, like people, the turnover rate on paddles is pretty high anyways.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like there's Infinite Grit, then you've got the foam core. Um, I wasn't a fan of that like MOI tuning system. I think that just I don't think it was really needed. And if
Hmm.
it was there, I wish it was like done differently. Like either let let me like place it where I want to, let me change it around. That I would have preferred. So like that's like some stuff I would dock points for. And I personally didn't like the feel, but at the same time, it's like speaking for other people. There are people that are going to hit this paddle and really like it. You know, I've had people that tried the paddle, really like fell in love with it. I'm just, unfortunately, I'm not one of them. But the issue is that it goes to $333, and you don't even get a discount off that. You just get a gift card for your next purchase. And so, like, even if I don't think any paddle is worth $300, no matter what the performance is. Like, I don't know what I would be paying for at like 300 to be like, oh yeah, that's definitely worth $300. Like, I think going above that is just too much. So, ah, like it's still a good performance paddle, which makes you want to say A, but I wouldn't mind saying B just because like I just think the price is too high. And I don't think the performance itself is matching that price. I think it's kind of dragging it down a bit.
Yeah, that the performance per dollar you would say just
Yeah.
isn't getting it there.
Yeah, because like even if I did really enjoy this paddle, like let's say like even if let's say the Flik was $333, like I don't think I would have been happy with that, like
No, yeah.
so.
Th- It's just hard to be happy with a $333 paddle. It's just like it feels bad. I think I would still put it at, in A tier, like towards the bottom, just because it is, a high performance paddle. It's not, I think it's going to be a love it or hate it type paddle,
Yeah.
for most people, but the performance is still there. I didn't, I'm not like a huge fan of the MOI weighted system that they have on there. It needs to, like, they should have just put it lower, like, 4 and 8 o'clock, or what, down towards the bottom of the curve of the paddle. Uh, and I mean, if the Infinite Grip actually does last longer than a normal peel pipe, then yeah, it probably is like a little bit of a boost in, you know, I'm good either way. High B or low A.
I would say low A.
All right, low A it is. We'll
There's gonna be
put that.
too many pitchforks if we put this in
That's
B.
true. That's true. Next up, we have the Sports Apex series, which I don't even know what they're selling it for now. They keep changing the price, it seems like, all the time. Like, I've seen like $65 sales, $70 sales.
I think
I think
right
it
now it's
originally,
70.
is it $70 now?
Yeah.
Jeez. So I think that's like the definition of like a good and solid paddle. I guess you could put it in A tier because of the price, but I feel like you're getting at a price point where it's like, whoa, now we're getting solo, not solo, but it I would just say it's a solid, good paddle that if you're looking for a paddle under 100, you could get. It doesn't do anything special.
Yeah. I think it's really great for its price. 70 bucks really cheap, and that's even retail. Like it drops down further after a code. But
Jeez, that's even
uh,
lower.
yeah, so it's still a good paddle. I think it's just outdated right now because
Hmm.
I mean technically it is like a Gen 1 paddle and they do have like other things in there, but at the end of the day it's still more like all court leaning control. And performance is like in this day and age, how we are seeing like the trend of performance, like I think you do need a bit more power. And so I would actually just go top
B,
B for that. Yeah.
top of B.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the price considered.
Yeah, because the price pushes it up. But I think performance, like it's like hard to say. Like it's not a bad performing paddle, but I think just because that in this days and age of like, in this age of like gameplay, we are looking for more power, and I think that's
Yeah,
kind of lacking there.
I hear you. Next up, Pickleball Apes Harmony series. What do you think about that?
This paddle, I actually really like it. So I picked up the Harmony X yesterday for fun because I actually brought that out for my wife to try because this is my recommendation for a first series paddle. I just think the feel and everything is really good. It's got a really good sweet spot. Like I would actually take this over the Spartus, the Apex series,
Hmm.
just because I think performance wise it performs better than the Spartus. Like in terms of the feel, sweet spot, and everything, it's all
Yeah.
the stats are better, but the price is also like significantly more. So that kind of drags it down a bit. And it is a bit hard to recommend because it has that higher price point. And like when you're
Hmm.
going at that 180 price point, you are looking for more power. So I would put this in B tier.
B tier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it, especially the X. I really, really enjoy. I think that, yeah, like you're saying, if you had no, if budget wasn't a thing, and you're like, hey, I want my first premium paddle. I don't want a power paddle, but I want something that, is like still a really, really strong all court, maybe leaning power paddle. I think this is just excellent. I would even go low A tier. I understand what you're saying though, like price per performance. It's not getting up there with the power, but it's still, the price is, I guess, a little high when you're talking about that all court paddle. But yeah, it's a fun paddle. I really do enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I see why you took it back out for fun because it's nice. It's a nice one.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I
If they
really
could
like
just
that one.
if they could take that, the feeling and everything else of the paddle, and they could boost the power, I could see that being a main for sure. Um, but what can you do? Sometimes I think they're working on something too, so hopefully we'll see something soon. Rhombus Ripple. Uh, what a series of events this Rhombus Ripple's had over the past 2 years. It's been a myth, a legend. It's gone through a lot of things. The final production one just kind of didn't quite land how we wanted it to. Very expensive, and it just I beside hybrid was all right, and the rest of the series just too heavy. I would honestly, I it's still solid with I'd put it at the bottom of B tier, and I could be convinced otherwise. What do you think about the Rhombus Ripples?
Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but I was frozen for a bit. But I figured you were talking about the ripple.
Yep,
And
talking about the ripples.
that was before you even said ripple. I was just trying to infer like, okay, I'm catching the tail end of what you're saying, and I'm hearing performance isn't there and it's heavy, and I was like, oh,
Yep.
that's probably the ripple. We're probably there now.
I
Um,
said bottom of B tier. Basically, hat too heavy, smaller sweet spots. Just didn't live up to the hype of the original Ripple, and kind of made it a little too hard.
yeah, I think there's even a case to drop it down slightly lower, just because like before then, like it was still like at the time it came out, it was still like a really powerful and like hollow feeling paddle.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have paddles like the Flik and the Boomstick that are also coming up there in power.
Yeah.
Um, and at least in like the Flik's case, it's like cheaper, and and I guess I just talked about earlier, the Luz Inferno and the Avatar paddles, like those are also super hollow feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure the Inferno is going for cheaper too. So like I think at this day and age, like I just don't see at any point I would recommend the Ripple to anyone. Um, yeah, I get that it has that carbon fiber, rib
Yeah.
structure or whatever it is, and I get that it's, might have more durability, but I just I don't think I've ever recommended like the production ripple to people because there's more performance like power paddles these days. So and it goes for 280, right? So if that's the case, like
Yeah.
I would say I would go like top of C for this one.
All right. I could be convinced. I mean, I don't recommend it to anyone. Throughout the day, no one asks about it in the comments. So I mean, it's definitely uh, the most hype I've ever seen on a paddle. To people were just they were over it. They were over it by the time it came out, and then it didn't perform how people were hyped up for it. So, Project 008. Did you get to hit any of these from Selkirk
I actually hit
Labs?
the the 13 millimeter one. Yeah, so I hit one of the thinner ones. I'm pretty sure it was the 13 millimeter. that one wasn't bad, but again, like this is that same $333 price tag, and I think performance-wise, this is much worse than the boomsticks. And um, even when it did come out, like it wasn't even popular because I felt like Carbon was outperforming it, and there were just so many better like control paddles that were cheaper. Um, I would say it did have a lot of shape options and everything, but just because it goes for 333, I think I would actually go D tier for this one. Like I put this
Yeah,
above Blue Cores though.
yeah, I would pay the extra to get it over the blue course still. Just with those options, I thought they were better, but yeah, it's for how expensive it was, the performance just not there. And I mean, you could see I don't think any of the pros really switched to it. I mean, and that's kind of how you can know. Like, if the pros don't switch to it when the paddle comes out, then I guess it's not always the case, but you can kind of tell. It's like they were using some because the era wasn't even out yet when these came out, right? So they
Yeah.
were using pretty old tech, and they would have switched pretty quickly if they were good. I mean, and we just didn't enjoy them. Next up, and it's funny because I was just searching Google Images to get these images fast, and my thumbnail came up as the first image, so I thought that was funny, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna use it for the Honolulu NF series. And then it's funny because some of the paddles, no thumbnails come up, and then when I search for some of like I don't know, it's not even obscure, so like, but some of the paddles, like even Selkirk, some thumbnails came up when I searched Selkirk paddles. Um, this is the only one I used just because it was my thumbnail. But I thought it was funny. It was the very first search image result when I searched Honolulu enough, so I was like, all right, we're gonna use it. um, I mean, I feel like people that are, you know, hardcore fans of the channel already know what I would say about this. It's S tier for me. Uh, it may or may not be my current main. Don't want to spoil anything. It was my main last month, so unless something replaced it, could be the main this month. Love the NF hybrid. Love the new long handle hybrid. I think the standard and slash wide body J3 NF is really good, and then J7 NF I like, but you have to weight it up right now, so I'm interested to see what they do with that in the production models if they raise the swing weight. But I know a lot of people like the lower swing weight elongated, so they can mess with it. And just for me, still the best sweet spot around for one of the foam paddles. So not as much power as some of the other top end foam paddles, but still enough to put it in that power category. Where would you put the Honolulu NFs? And there's only one right answer.
Yeah.
But where, I
I
guess,
do like
would be the question.
yeah, I do like this series, and I think people that do watch us know that I've never been a huge fan of that J2 shape, but I do like
Mm-hmm.
that long handle. I think that really helped a lot of the issues that I've had with that shape. Um, I think ever since they came out with that, and then now adding the J3 and the J7 to the mix, I think even if we didn't consider that they have the J2 NFK and the NFTI, like that series as a whole
Yeah.
was still an S tier thing. I think I would just put this like straight at the top. I think
The top?
yeah, I
Okay.
think this was like that series that came out like for a while when we did that tier list at the beginning of the year. I said like I was worried about Honolulu, like not
Mm.
that like I was obviously always rooting for them, but I was just kind of worried
Yeah.
that like they weren't gonna innovate this year. And then like mid-year when we were talking about the Plus series, like it's kind of seems like they're just kind of just throwing darts to see what sticks. But this is the one that came out, and I thought like these are good paddles. Like they've come out with a good foam paddle. It's got a good feel. In just like performance is good, price is good. People say that we shill them, but I mean, it's just a good paddle, and that's just what it is.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, I say just go play the paddles, and if you don't like it, then come talk to me. But I bet you'll like one of those shapes for sure. And yeah, I don't remember if we had them at S tier on our last list or we had moved them down to A, but I know we were pretty worried because they hadn't done anything for a bit and they were kind of falling behind. But we soon learned the reason. Like they've been working on their foam paddles pretty
Yeah.
hard, if it's your first foam paddle for a company, it is harder to like get. It's one of the harder ones to get manufactured and get manufactured well, just because there's some issues with the bonding to the face and everything.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of time in your first go around for the foam paddles, and then obviously the weight can be an issue too. Some of the foams can be a little heavier, a little denser. They didn't seem to have a problem with that, so that made it even better. People love the lower swing weight, still delivering the power, lets you customize, and somehow kept the sweet spots really, really solid. So, yeah, excellent, excellent. 11624. I guess you could say the power and the alpha power series. They're kind of
they're basically the same
all
thing.
lumped together, right?
Yeah.
Where would you put those?
Hmm. Yeah, this is that
Uh,
paddle that sold out in like 10 minutes when it first came out. Beginning of the year, yeah, this was a very good performance paddle. I would have definitely would have said S tier then. Um, these days, it still goes for like, I think want to say like 160, I believe.
um, one I'll look up the power series. I know the alpha power series is 199. Let's see what the. Ooh, 11. I know it's
Yeah.
hard because people change the prices, and there's just a lot of prices to remember.
But I mean, even like right now, I think the performance is still good on these. It's and like we've kind of talked about it, how foam hasn't really replaced polypropylene yet. Like some people still like the feel of these Gen 3 paddles,
Hmm.
and this is one of the more durable ones, which I guess unfortunately we can't really factor in, but it still is a good performance paddle, and the price is still good. Um, so I would keep this like top of A tier. I still think it's like a great paddle for its
Yeah,
price. I don't think it's as
169.99 for the price
okay.
on the power
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I don't think it was like as unique as it was at the beginning of the year, unfortunately, which makes sense because, things have been advancing throughout this year, but overall it's still a really good paddle.
Yeah, I'm good with the top of A tier. It's the series is really good. I do like the Alpha Pro series. It is a little bit of a boost. They have a 1 year warranty on the Alpha Pro series too. I know we haven't really talked about warranties at all. The Boomstick has a lifetime warranty. They did change that. All the other stuff I can't remember off the top of my head, but I guess we haven't been factoring in the warranties at all because we haven't been factoring durability. So
Wow.
take all those words away I just said. um, but anyway, yeah, still really good, and I know that they're cooking up some really interesting stuff. I haven't, he's kept that under wraps, but I'm sure it's going to be something interesting.
Yeah.
Next up, Paddletech GTO. So basically, Paddletech for a while, they didn't do anything. Then they came out with their Bantam series, huge hit. And then they didn't do anything for a while. And then their next big thing was coming out with the hybrid for the Bantam series. Uh, Personally, my experience with the hybrid Bantam GTO, I thought it wasn't that great. Higher swing weights. The swing weights, were like more of like an elongated swing weights. I thought the power level was less than the TKOs. Uh, I just didn't really see a reason to use these over the TKOs. So I was whelmed by these. They're fine. They're expensive though. 250. Actually, did they raise the price? I think they might have raised the price from 250. But then they'll shut off the codes too after 2 months. So like you can only get discounts the first 2 months of launch, I believe. Um, I'm just kind of
Yeah,
like,
250.
I 250. I don't recommend the paddle techs mostly a lot to people, and then a lot of people like. For me, I'll have some like elbow, some tennis elbow from the paddle tech bantams for me. So I tend not to recommend them too often, and people come to me asking for a different recommendation than them because they get tennis elbow from them. But they're still good, just smaller sweet spot than the foams and the thermoforms. I mean, I I'd say B. What you
Hmm.
think?
I think if we factor in the Bantam series as a whole, I'd agree with B, but I might lean, but just if we're just strictly talking about the hybrid, I think I would put this in C because it did seem like
Okay.
there was really no point in this shape if it was just gonna be arguably worse than the elongated and just didn't
Yeah,
really kind of fit in the lineup.
I mean, we're just talking straight GTO here since the other ones had come out so long ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm good with C. I put it above the Ripple and the Vesper though. Okay. Next up, Gearbox GX2 Power Series. Where do you have that, David?
This one, now that I've finally been hitting it more, I think I did talk about this a bit, but when I first got these, I thought they weren't anything special, but they do have a bit of a break-in period. Um, I think probably Gearbox's best powder right now. I think if you want a plusher or like a softer feel off the face with power, this is that top recommendation there. Um, that said, they are also pretty pricey. I want to say they are 280.
Yep, they
So,
are. Goes down to 252 though. So same as
okay,
like the
okay,
carbons and the
gotcha. So I would say
yeah.
because their feel is the most unique, or like they're the only power paddle right now that I see that has that like unique, softer feel off the face. Um, I'm okay paying for that premium to be in like lower S tier.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a good performance paddle still. It has that unique feel, and we're not even factoring in durability at this point. So I think like if you really do want to chase that softer feel, because that is something that people do like, and some people do have that issue with these power paddles is like how hollow or like not how but how stiff they feel. If
Mm-hmm.
they don't want that crisp feel, like the gearbox is basically the only option now. So because of that, I think I'm okay going for bottom of S tier, even though it is pricey.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that a lot of people are chasing that softer feel, but still want that power, still want that pop, but they don't want it to be stiff or hollow. I I would put this above the Fury, if you're okay with that.
Yep.
What am I doing? Did I just grab something else?
Yeah,
Huh?
I think
Did
the
it
gearbox
disappear?
is
Oh, I
behind the
put it right
enhance right
here.
now.
Somehow I grabbed. I don't even know what I just did.
What is that?
Okay, yeah, I'd put it above the Fury if you're cool with that. I really enjoy that elongated, and I think it offers a pretty unique proposition for power and softness.
Yep, that works.
Okay. Next up, the Franklin C45 series. It's an interesting one. It's like sometimes it feels like people got different units, like didn't seem as consistent. Like it seemed like people had a lot different experiences with it. The hybrids came in super light. You had to weight them up a lot, which kind of led to, differing opinions. Because like, okay, well, how much did you weight it up? Because like you could weight it up a lot. You could weight it up almost like, the Paddletech Annalee Waters or the ESQ where you wrap the whole thing, which I did. I was wrapping it a lot. And so people were having different break-in periods. So they're having or
Yeah.
different break-in the mounts, and they're having different experiences with that. My experience with most of them was pretty good. Like I like the feel, and I like the power level, and I like the customization you got. The wide bodies were probably my least favorite. Just short 5-inch handle. It's just not really usable for me. But I enjoyed the hybrid. I enjoyed the elongateds. I liked them. They are expensive. I have to double check that price because I thought they changed that too. But what'd you think about them, David? My recommendation, I guess, is oh man, bottom of A or top of B.
Okay. Franklin's, I still think they're good performance paddles. I think, like you said, that there were inconsistencies with how they arrived and like how the paddle feels after you hit with them. I think the one unique thing that they have is just they come in so light and they're so customizable. Supposedly, some people hit them stock, but I don't know if you saw in the reviewer chat, but we were talking about how Georgia Johnson was supposedly hitting them stock, but then you look at her paddle, there's actually tape on them.
So
Um,
I saw her use it in person at Beer City, like when she was practicing.
mm,
It was not stock. It had stuff on it, and it was sounding different than my paddles. So I was like, and I was talking to another like pro's mom, and I was like, um, does her paddle always sound like that? And she's like, yeah, she might have something different. And I was like, yeah, maybe. It was like, it doesn't sound like mine. But Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I will say like I do enjoy the feel of them. I think they do feel nice. Um, that said, I am not a big fan of all of their shapes. I don't like their hybrid shape, and it's not because I don't like just because I don't like hybrids, but I just don't like how they didn't max dimensions out on the hybrid. And
mhm.
I did like the elongated, but then same thing for their tempo, that the wide body one. It just felt like a small shape, and I thought they could have done a bit more with that. Um, I think the dynasties are nice. I like the 14 a lot, and I think the feel is pretty unique. But for that higher price point, I think I would personally take the sorry, the Harmony series over this. So I would put this in B tier.
B tier behind the behind the Harmony series. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Last one up, which I guess I should have moved forward with some of the other stuff, but something that obviously the biggest company, I guess, for the last the Joola Pro 4s. I put in the Agassi Pro 4, which I think is my favorite shape of the series. I mean, 280. Obviously, they perform very well, and they have a whole bunch of shape varieties. They've, if like you're saying, if we would have done this earlier in the year, easy top of the S tier. I think they still make S tier. We put the Thrive Fury in there. Obviously, Thrive Fury is cheaper, but I think putting it, you could put it behind it, I guess, or you could put it above it because of the variety of options. And obviously, more expensive. You're paying for that name brand, but I think it's still S tier. But they might be falling behind if they don't get a foam paddle out here soon.
Yeah, I would say like the funny thing is even when the Pro Force came out, um, a lot of us were also like they're kind of really similar to the Gen 3S. It's like a
Yeah.
small difference, but even still, like this is kind of like the benchmark for a performance paddle. Like a lot of
hmm
pros use it, and it's not even just because it's that big name, but because as a power paddle, it's still very good.
hmm
Durability issues aside, and um, it's just like a good performing paddle. Is it worth $280? That's tough to say, but because it is that benchmark of power paddles that like a lot of people are trying to replicate, a lot of people when they're developing their paddles, they ask us like when we do our reviews, they're like, oh, how do you think it compares in performance to a Pro 4? Uh, it's so like high up there that I would still say even for 280, it's still an S tier paddle. I'd put that, yeah, I'd
Yeah.
put that above the Fury.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. When companies ask us, they always benchmark the Yellow Pro 4. I mean, it's just, it's the paddle in every pro shop, it's the paddle at every facility, and it's just the paddle that most people have had access to or have hit. So it's the easiest one to compare to give people a frame of reference. It's like can't compare every paddle to, a Pickleball Harmony Apes series or even a Selkirk Boomstick because people just don't have access to them, and
Mhm.
so it's it's the benchmark. So, and it's the benchmark for a reason. It's been good for a long time. That completes our list, and as you can see, a lot of really really good paddles over the past 6-7 months. A lot are in S tier, a lot in A tier, and B tier. Not too many in the C and D tier. When people say like, "Oh, are there any bad paddles being made?" I mean, like some are down there because of price and performance, and or just lack of innovation. But at the end of the day, most paddles coming out are really really good. So that's good for us, but bad if you have a hard time making a decision because there's so many good options. Um, any final comments on this tier list? Anything that you think is missing? Where would you put the Avatar right now if someone had a gun to your head? I don't know.
I don't even know how much it goes for, so that's the issue.
Let's
Because
say let's say it's 250.
yeah, 250. Yeah, I could put that in probably A tier, like probably at the top right now.
Okay.
We did forget
Yeah. Well,
Adidas, but I think we neither of us hit it. But based on what we've heard, it probably would have been a D tier paddle if we did hit it.
never hit the Adidas. They were
Yeah.
scared to get the all drive and tickle review on the Adidas. Scared Adidas. Scared. I haven't seen a single person using the Adidas either. No one's been asking about it, so I'm really not worried about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun doing the tier list. I think that we might wait till the end of the year to update like the company tier list. I think there's still stuff coming out, and it'll be interesting to kind of revisit that after a long time. And there's just been so much stuff going on, we haven't had time to do it. And I thought, it'd be a change of pace to do it by individual paddles. So that's what we have for you. Any final words or anything coming up this week, David?
Final thing I would say is like if people want us to do a tier list on something else, I'd love to see that in the comments. Like if they want us to, review clothing or something.
There you go. Any other tier list you want us to do, we will do it. We have no problem going from S to D. And we'll put it in D, okay? There you go. We have our final tier list here. I do not have one for you to come play along this time. Sorry. I don't know if many people have hit all these paddles anyway. There's, I don't know if you want to hit all these paddles. It's a lot. But that's all I got. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing what you want us to tier list next. See ya.